On this episode, we're going to be talking about the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup for the second season in a row. In fact, this is the only time we're going to be discussing it because I don't follow hockey at all. Just want to give you guys out in Florida a shout out. Congratulations to the Florida Panthers on being back-to-back Stanley Cup winners, taking down the Edmonton Oilers for the second year in a row, extending the Canadian Stanley Cup winningless streak. I think it's been like 30 years since the last time the Canadians won a Stanley Cup. So congratulations, Florida, keeping it in the good old states. What we will be discussing in depth, however, ladies and gentlemen, is the FIFA Club World Cup, who I think has a real opportunity to win it, and the biggest issues currently going on during the tournament. The return, ladies and gentlemen, of this lady right here, Caitlin Clark. She is killing it, in my honest opinion, and it is great to see her back. She is as electrifying as ever. My San Francisco Giants, ladies and gentlemen, making a blockbuster move for Rafael Devers, and who I think the New York Knicks head coach should be going into the 2025-2026 season. And last but not least, my beloved 49ers right here. Two things that I think they need to shore up going into the 2025-2026 seasons that I personally think will have a big role in defining how our season goes. Now, before we get into today's episode, I want to take a brief moment to thank all of you guys, my subscribers, for being a part of this channel. We have reached 11,000 subscribers, and I wanted to say thank you guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave a comment on the video so I know if you agree or disagree with my takes. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get into today's first topic. It'll be this right here, ladies and gentlemen. The FIFA Club World Cup is currently underway in the United States. And it's, I think, the first time they're doing, I think, this 32-team tournament. And honestly, I think it's incredible for the entire world, even if it is semi-pro teams that have qualified for this tournament, to have the opportunity to face teams like Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Porto, South American giants like Palmeiras. You get to see Inter Miami, Messi, all these teams around the world just coming together for this one competition every 4 years. I think it's great. It's similar to the World Cup. It's a new format, but before it used to just be played on the weekend and it'd only be 4 teams. I think it was the UEFA Champions League winner, the Copa Libertadores winner, and I forget I think the I think it was the Asian Cup winner or something like that, and another, I think, Middle Eastern or African nation that gets to qualify. They used to qualify for the tournament. Don't quote me on that, but they've changed the format. Now it's a 32 team. It's a 32 team tournament, basically, from all over the world. The United States are hosting the first one, and realistically, it's hit or miss. The reason why it's been hit or miss here in the States is mainly because right now we just wrapped up the Stanley Cup Finals just wrapped up, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the middle of the NBA Finals, where it's the Indiana Pacers versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. And yes, I know they're not like super big markets. People are at home watching those games, basically because this country is more invested in hockey, in basketball, in football, and right now it's the middle of Major League Baseball season, and Major League Baseball, by all intents and purposes, it's kind of back when it comes to viewership ratings. People are tuning in more. The Dodgers are hotter than ever. My Giants are fucking finally under Buster Posey making incredible moves. And it's just in the United States during this time of the year, because we have major markets in all these other sports, soccer takes a secondary stance, or a secondary, not even a secondary, it takes like a a fourth or fifth seat in like the back row. It's like it's under everybody's radar. We saw people complaining, and also, how are you going to have LAFC play in Minnesota against Chelsea? Why aren't they playing at home? How does that make any goddamn sense? That's also another mistake. Who from Minnesota would go out to support LAFC? That's neither the here nor there. But because soccer is not at the forefront here in America, there's a reason why it there's a lack of attendance or a lack of importance, especially in this tournament. If this tournament was held in, let's say, England, in London, in Saudi Arabia, in a country, in one of the European countries or a South American country like Brazil, a country where soccer is at the forefront, where football, where it's called football, it'd be different. The climate, the intensity would be there. But right now, especially in the group stages, because it's uneven. Like we got Bayern Munich facing Auckland and scoring fucking 10 goals on them. You got shout out to PSG who won the UEFA Champions League. They had to send some players away to compete for the UEFA Nations League, and then they're using basically their secondary squad. But they came out and they thrashed Atletico de Madrid 4-0, and it's clear Luis Enrique wants to win it. So to summarize this entire segment, ladies and gentlemen, because it's beautiful how all of this comes together, right? The biggest issue with the FIFA Club World Cup, in my honest opinion, is that it is being held in America, where soccer, especially during this time of the year, is not at the forefront. People have options. People are going out. It's a horrendous time to hold a competition like this here in America, because you got the NBA playoffs, you have the hockey playoffs, you're in the middle of baseball, and here in America, baseball it's America's pastime. I know it hasn't been in a long time, but now it's come back. The Yankees are hot, the Dodgers are hot, my Giants are hot. I can't stress that enough. The Guardians are fucking good. The Astros, I think they're going back to what the Astros used to be, but they're still coming off a dynastic run. It's just baseball is back. It's entertaining. And people are going to tend to spend 5, 10, 20 bucks on those games rather than try to spend 50 to 60 to 100 bucks on group stage games where you could still get a draw, where people might not score a goal. And here in America, scoring excites people. So that's the biggest issue why this tournament here in America hasn't been as good as they try to advertise it. That's why at this stage in the game, we've been trying to give away tickets. Tickets, I think, were priced before this tournament at a couple $100s, and those tickets are now being sold for like 20 bucks on the markets just to get in, just so they can sell it out. I think Chelsea's game against LAFC, they out of 60 to 70,000 that could have attended the game, only 22,000 showed up. It's just this tournament here in America wouldn't work, or doesn't work, especially during this time of the year. Now, if this was during the winter, maybe this is something else, but during the winter we got football, right? It has to be during like the time of this tournament should have happened somewhere in between, let's say, March to May, where we're not necessarily in the playoffs for the NBA or hockey, but football season just ended. That's when this tournament should have been held, if it was going to be held here in America, to be completely honest. But the issue with all of that is that it's still in the middle of the Premier League, La Liga, whichever of the domestic league season, and then you're in the middle of the UEFA Champions League if you're in Europe. So it wouldn't work, right? But if you're gonna do a tournament like this again, like in another 4 years, it has to be held in like Paris, Brazil, London. It has to be held in Europe, Saudi Arabia, somewhere where soccer is at the forefront, and it makes sense to hold it there. That's why it's not working. And then who do I have to win this? UEFA Champions League winner PSG or Real Madrid. I'm not a Real Madrid fan. As you can see from the videos that I posted, I'm a big Barca fan. But realistically, with Xabi Alonso and the roster and the squad that they've taken, because they've taken all of their top guys. I think Mbappe is going to be there. They're taking Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think Vinicius is also going to show up eventually. But they're trying to win this competition with Xabi Alonso. Even if Mbappe and Vinicius aren't there, they still have Rodrigo there, who wants to play left winger, who's going to have that opportunity because those other guys aren't there. He's the third option, and he gets to showcase what he has and the ability that he has with Xabi Alonso. And they have made moves. So I'm giving my confidence in Real Madrid second, Paris Saint-Germain as first, and then my third option would be Bayern Munich. They're just the rash Aucklands had nothing. They look phenomenal, and it would be a great departing gift for Thomas Müller to win this tournament. And by all means, intents and purposes, I know those three teams are here to try to win it, and I can't wait to see what the round of 16 makes it. Shout out to Inter Miami, who I hope can make it into the knockout rounds. But realistically, based on who they're facing in their division, between Palmeiras, FC Porto, they have a shot. Honestly, they have a shot. I think they have a shot of finishing second. I think they could draw with Porto, and I think they could beat Palmeiras. But we got to see how those other games draw out. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back to discuss the return of this woman right here, Caitlin Clark, ladies and gentlemen, and what she is doing for the WNBA.
Guys, have you heard? Nelson, tell the people.
Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons.
Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspins Barbershop, located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we're back with our next topic of the day. This woman right here, Chef Steph Caitlin Clark Curry, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you heard that right. Caitlin Clark Curry. She is back, and I added the Curry because she be cooking these motherfuckers on the court. And no offense to you, ladies, but the WNBA's real legitimate cash cow is back, and she is as electrifying as ever. And guys, ladies and gentlemen, yo, can the Fever win it all this year? Can Caitlin Clark win a ring this year? Can Caitlin Clark win the MVP or at least be the runner-up? Boy, she was playing her ass off. She gave the Liberty their first L of the season, and everybody thought the Liberty were going to go undefeated. She went toe-to-toe with Sabrina Ionescu, who did the three-point contest against Steph Curry, if you guys remember, and she smacked. Smacked. What was it? Sabrina Ionescu in that game went 11 for 20, 4 for 10 on threes. She got 9 free throw attempts. She put up 34 points, but she is not the playmaker Caitlin Clark is. She only had 4 assists and 2 rebounds. You know what your girl did? You know what homegirl Caitlin Clark did? Boy, she came out 11 to 20. How many points? 32 points. She only got 5 free throws. You know, that's crazy, but you know why? Because she was putting up threes like motherfucking crazy. She went 7 to 14 for 3-pointers. Steph Curry, summon Chef Caitlin Clark Curry, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm probably gonna get smacked. But oh Lord, she was electrifying. And then she got 8 rebounds and 8 defensive rebounds. 8 defensive rebounds. Throwing shade. I'm throwing shade. and one from the end zone, owned by Shady Mob Productions. So I'm throwing all of the goddamn shade right now because she got 8 rebounds and not offensive rebounds. So we know she wasn't getting her own offensive rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Those are 8 defensive rebounds, protecting the rim, doing her role defensively. And she had 9 assists. She was 2 rebounds away from having a triple-double and 1 assist away from having a triple-double. Boy, phenomenal return, handing the Liberty their first L, and doing it in a fashion where it was a 102-88 victory. They blew them out. Caitlin Clark blew them out. It was 14 points? Blowout of my eyes. Blowout of my eyes. And viewership, I got it right here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me read it to you. Let me read to you the viewership numbers. So viewership, once Caitlin Clark was out, was down 55%. For the Indiana Fever, who averaged when Caitlin Clark was playing 1.8 million viewers, dropped to 847,000 viewers, dropping 53% after Caitlin Clark's injury. The Fever versus Liberty game, Caitlin's first game back, 2.2 million views. Can we respect Caitlin Clark? Can we give her respect? Can we treat her honorably? Can we just acknowledge what she's doing for the game? Like, guys, it's not comparable. I'm just sportswoman of the year in my eyes. And then today, the Connecticut Sun versus the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark cooking in her back. 88-71. Caitlin Clark was how much? 20 points, 4 of 6 on her 3-pointers, 6 assists, 1 rebound. Not a great rebounding game, but she still had 2 steals. Doing her part, carrying the team, and that shit was cheeky. Players envy and hate. But guys, it's Caitlin Clark carrying the league. And I'm sorry, there are phenomenal players. Asia Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart. There's a lot of phenomenal players, but they don't have the cachet or the presence that Caitlin Clark has. Once LeBron, Steph, and KD and a lot of the guys a lot of the old guard in the NBA retired, she's gonna be the most well-known basketball player in the United States. This woman right here. And she deserves it. One of the best goddamn players right now currently in the sport. And guys, I'm all for it. Electrifying as fuck. Viewership is probably gonna go back up. And we're gonna see, guys, Commissioner's Cup, MVP, Finals. I think they could do it all. I think Caitlin Clark could do it all. She's that fucking good. She is that good to turn around a franchise. And I think they're going to do it this year. I think she's going to do it this year. And then the next one up, Paige Beckers. That's going to be crazy. And then Juju Watkins coming. The WNBA going to be on fire, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be making a lot of money. And no, it's not because of Angel Reese. I'm sorry, it's not. Didn't even want to mention the name, but I just got to say, it's not because of Angel Reese. Got to just say, because of this woman not here. Paige Beckers. All the old guard appreciate the service, the years of service, but cash cow. Money. He's making the money. I'm just saying. Oh, Lord. Moving on. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So now let's get into today's NBA topic, and that is who I think the New York Knicks should hire as their next head coach. Now, I do know the NBA Finals is currently going on, or at least right now as this video is being shot. I honestly wanted the Pacers to win. My heart was with the Pacers. I think the entire country's heart was with the Pacers. But after what I saw in Game 4, where I thought the Pacers should have won that game, and essentially the cheeky calls at the end basically gave the game to the Oklahoma City Thunder. OKC won that game, and then Game 5 that just happened in OKC, I just felt like it took a lot out of the Pacers, and with Halliburton's injury, I think the Thunder either close this out in Indiana or they lose Game 6 but close it out in Oklahoma City. And the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be your 2025 NBA champions. Shout out to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's been phenomenal. In my honest opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if they gave Jay Williams the Finals MVP because he's been playing lights out. But Shai's also been having a tremendous finals. So whoever wins the Finals MVP, congratulations to them. But Oklahoma City Thunder, as of right now, I'm predicting they are going to win the finals either in Game 6 or in Game 7. Just because I just felt like the Pacers were outcoached and just outmaneuvered in Game 4, and that heart-wrenching defeat in Game 4, and then how the game played out in Game 5. I just feel like that they're just running on empty fumes at this point. So back to what this topic is going to be about: the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, and who they should hire to be their head coach. Now, number 4, I'm going to give you 4 options. I'm going to give you 4 options who I think they should hire. And number 4 is one that Stephen A. has been adamant about. Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson, was basically the last head coach for the Golden State Warriors before Steve Kerr took it over. He was there with building that foundation with Steph, Clay, Draymond, Bogut, all those guys back in the day, Harrison Barnes, just all those guys. Just having that core, it was a defensive minded team, and it was a great time period for the developing Warriors. But he wasn't the head coach that was able to ultimately put everything together with the roster that he had to get them over the hump. That came along with Steve Kerr and the style of offense that they now play, and how they also play defense, and how Steve Kerr was able to transform the league and essentially make Steph into that guy that we all expected him to be. Since then, Mark Jackson has not been able to get back into the league as an assistant coach, as a coach at all. So with that being said, Stephen A. has been very adamant the last few years that Mark Jackson should get a look. And with Tom Thibodeau, who I also love because he coached the Chicago Bulls, who I also support. They're my Eastern team. My overall team, Golden State Warriors. My Eastern Conference team is the Chicago Bulls. And Tibbs, I love Tibbs. Tibbs, wherever he's gone, I've always had a tremendous amount of respect. Tibbs, in my honest opinion, letting him go was the right move. His rotations are too small. He doesn't rely on the bench. And with all due respect, I know they say that the Knicks didn't have a bench, and that's why Tibbs was electing to go to his bench. But how are they going to say that he doesn't have a bench when throughout the entirety of the season he doesn't trust his bench, doesn't go to them at all? He plays his players basically 35 to 40 minutes a fucking night. And then when he needs to depend on somebody else, they don't have the confidence, or they haven't played and had that fluidity. So that's why I thought it was time for Tibbs to go, because the way that all these other teams in the playoffs have coached, they have a team. They have about 8 to maybe 9 guys that they can go to. The Knicks reluctantly go to a 7th man. They barely have they have a 6th man, and they'll reluctantly go to 7th, and they'll even at times reluctantly go to 6th. So because of those factors, I thought it was time for Tibbs to move on. I think Mark Jackson, if he were to come in to be the head coach of the Knicks, could upgrade, or not even upgrade, but maintain that defensive prowess that the Knicks have been known for, in that grit grind, especially because Mark Jackson knows what it's like to be a New York Knick because he was a former New York Knick. And he maybe even help elevate that offense. We know he can deal with egos, and we know he can help develop a team, but does he really make them that contender that they need to be, that can get them over the hump? I honestly don't think so. The other candidate that I think that they should consider is the Memphis Grizzlies head coach, Taylor Jenkins, who, because of, in my honest opinion, because of the superstar that he had under his tutelage, I know it doesn't all fall on Taylor Jenkins. to control the superstar of the team. The superstar of the team is going to do what the superstar wants to do. But Taylor Jenkins, with the roster that he had built around him, with Dylan fucking Brooks, Desmond Bain, John Morant, Jaren Jackson, that roster, he was able to get them to, I think, a Western Conference Finals against, I think, the Warriors, if I'm not mistaken, or he was able to make them look like a viable title contender when he was with the Memphis Grizzlies. And in my honest opinion, I think he could help elevate the New York Knicks offensively and even help them defensively. I know he'll give players an opportunity to play and develop and have an actual rotation. That's why I honestly think they should consider Taylor Jenkins. The second option that we're going up the list, right? Number 4 was Mark Jackson. Number 3 was Taylor Jenkins. Number 2 is the head coach that was recently let go, Mike Malone, NBA Finals championship head coach. I just think his time with the Denver Nuggets just ran out. He's a very high octane, high pressure person, similar to Tom Thibodeau, where he is about that grit, he is about that grind, but he trusts his bench, he trusts his players to come up clutch and to show up in the biggest of moments. That's why he was able to get that maximum effort from Christian Braun and all those guys when they made that finals run a few years ago. Now, I think he could do the same thing with the New York Knicks, who, in my opinion, are a younger version of the Denver Nuggets at this point in time, with Jalen Brunson, with Karl Anthony Townsend, Mikal Bridges, and all the other guys that they have on that roster. I think Mike Malone could be the missing head coach piece that can get them over the hump. Because in my honest opinion, the Denver Nuggets, they've just fallen short due to injury or running out of gas. But I don't think it's been a coaching mishap that's cost them the series. I think it's just age, injuries, and just running out of gas at that point. That's cost them this at the last couple of years in the playoff. And I've thought Mike Malone has made all the proper adjustments when he was coaching that team. Now, the number 1 option and the most, I guess, unorthodox, I guess you could switch Mike Malone for number 1, but I think Adrian Griffin deserves a shot to be a head coach, a head coach in the league again. He did not get a fair shake with the Milwaukee Bucks, and yes, that's the Adrian Griffin I'm talking about. Adrian Griffin did not get a fair shake with the Milwaukee Bucks. He didn't, I guess, get along with Giannis Antetokounmpo, and things just escalated quickly. But in this time when he was the head coach, the Bucks were 31-13, second place in the Eastern Conference, and basically he was going to be coaching the All-Star game before they fired him in favor of Doc Rivers, and that team has never looked the same since. Here we are basically 2 years later, and that Milwaukee Bucks team has not elevated, has honestly been mediocre with Dame, without Dame, and now they don't have Dame for the next couple of years. So, in my honest opinion, Adrian Griffin deserves another shot to be a head coach in the league. And honestly, I could see him being a great fit in New York. I think he could manage the egos. That Milwaukee Bucks experience was a learning experience. I think if he gets another opportunity, and it is with the New York Knicks, he could manage Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. Again, defense in New York, that grit and grind, that's always going to be there. And I think Adrian Griffin, at least the style of play that he had the Bucks playing at that point, because I think one of the biggest complaints at the time was Giannis did not want to work as hard as Adrian Griffin was making them work. And that with the New York Knicks, I think would fly because they just came off Tom Thibodeau. So Adrian Griffin in New York might be the missing piece, in my honest opinion, if they are looking for a new head coach. And those are my 4 options. You got Mark Jackson, Taylor Jenkins, Mike Malone, and Adrian Griffin, who I honestly think deserves another opportunity to be a head coach in the league. Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast, where we break down all the latest content and talk about life.
Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are doing our first baseball topic ever on the show. And last year, when I did N1 from the End Zone, I wanted to do a baseball topic about my San Francisco Giants, but I never got around to it. And frankly, it was a little bit of a letdown season because I thought there was a point where we were hot, where I thought we could compete for the playoffs, maybe win the pennant. But it sadly fell apart, and we parted ways with Farhan Zaidi, which I thought was ultimately what needed to happen. Now, this year, with our new president and the great Buster Posey, former MVP, multiple three-time World Series champion, Rookie of the Year, my guy, had a short career but should be a Hall of Famer in my honest opinion. Buster, who took over for Farhan, has pulled off an incredible blockbuster deal to land Rafael Devers, and that is why I'm so happy to be doing this topic today. We traded away Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, who I thought Kyle had a lot of potential to be a solid rotation starter at some point, but Kyle Harrison couldn't solidify himself on the 23-man roster for the San Francisco Giants, and that kind of was kind of worrisome. So they moved Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, who wasn't having a great year in my honest opinion, Jose Bello Jose Bello and James Tibbs III, who was the Giants' number 4 prospect at the time of the trade, to the Boston Red Sox for all-star superstar Rafael Devers, who in every year that he's been healthy has never hit under 20 to 25 home runs. When he hasn't been healthy, he's still put up about 10 to 15. Even if in like shortened seasons. And then this year, he's already hit 15. He's on pace to probably hit 30 for the year. And we got him. We got a power hitter. We got home runs. We got a guy like Bear. We haven't had a guy like this in a long time. He's wearing number 16. And the last guy that we had wear the number 16 when it was a big deal like this was Angel Pagan. And Angel Pagan won us a World Series ring. And I think we're not there yet. But I see the signs. And the signs for me is pitching. When we won our 3 World Series rings back in 2010, 12, and 14, we had pitching. Granted, the last World Series ring, our pitching wasn't stellar because we were relying on Tim Lincecum, but we had a resurging Barry Zito who came back and had a tremendous last year on his contract where he was critical for us winning that World Series ring. So we had Barry Zito, we had Timmy who was coming out the bullpen, we had Matt Cain, all legendary. I think was Vogelsong on that team. I think Vogelsong was on that team. But we had a lot of players. Our rotation was deep. We had great relief pitching and Santiago Casillas, I think Jeremy Affeldt, Sergio Romo, Brian Wilson, I think by that point was gone. But there was a point where we were there, right? There was a point where it was our pitching that was carrying the team, and then we had good hitting that got us over the hump, clutch hitting essentially, because we haven't had a home run hitter like this in a long time, essentially since Barry Bonds. And I think now Yaz is kind of coming into his own, hitting the ball out the park. We have Matt Chapman as well. We can't forget about him. So honestly, this team has been built very, very well. This year, pitching has been there. Buster pulling off some incredible moves, bringing in Justin Verlander, who I know hasn't had a great season, but usually in the second half of the season, when it's go time, when it's that playoff push, Justin Verlander in his career has come up clutch, trusting Camilo Duvall, Tyler Rogers in the pen doing great. Like, we have a bullpen, then we have starting pitchers like Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, Hayden Birdsong, like all these guys just coming together at the right time. We have a young lineup in Casey Schmidt, Tyler Fitzgerald, and now with Rafael Devers on the roster, I'm just more confident in us being able to do something this year. I don't know if we'll win the World Series, but I think we can compete for the NL West. If we just now that we have the bats and we're starting to have that chemistry that we need, and and I think we're gonna go on a run here soon. I think we can surpass the Dodgers. I think we can surpass the Dodgers, and if we can't, we'll do it like we did in I think 2010 and 2012, where we made the wild card, and then we made the wild card, and then we made the World Series, and then we won it. It's one of those feelings that I get where I'm just excited, and maybe it's not gonna be this year, but seeing how the roster is currently being built and the moves Buster Posey has been making for my San Francisco Giants just makes me so excited and so grateful, because for the longest amount of times, I think for the last, I'm not going to lie, it feels like for the last about 8 years, 7 to 8 years, I kind of feel like it's been purgatory, and we let Bruce Bochy go. I miss Bruce Bochy. If there's a way Buster could bring back Bruce for another stint, I would fucking love it. But we have Bob Melvin right now. We got to trust him to be able to pull this team together and get us over the hump. And Bob Melvin's done a great job wherever he's been. So we have a shot. I think we'll be able to compete. I don't know if we win a World Series, but again, I know West.
Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
Guys, have you heard? Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now let's get into the last topic of the day. My San Francisco 49ers, who I love dearly, and you all know this. I've covered my Niners. Basically, the majority of my podcast last year was covering my 49ers, and I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them. So in this episode, or in today's topic, I'm going to give you two major factors that the Niners need to worry about heading into the 2025-2026 season, in my honest opinion. And it's not the defense, although we have a lot of turnaround. We don't have Greg Greenlaw anymore. We don't have Fufanga. I think Devondre Campbell left. I'm pretty sure we didn't pick up Leonard Floyd. And there's been just a lot of turnaround. Or I think Leonard Floyd might still be there. Don't quote me on that one. But there's just been a lot of turnaround. And the reason why I'm not really worried about the defense is because we still got Nick Bosa, still got Fred Warner, got Diamador Lenore. We have Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa, who both are, in my honest opinion, coming into their own, into their prime at safety, which is why we moved off Hufanga, who was not able to stay healthy in the last 3 consecutive seasons, or in basically his entire career with the 49ers. When he was healthy, he was fire. I loved him when he played. But the majority of the time, he's been on the bench because he hasn't been able to be healthy in the big games where we've needed him the most. And that is why I have a lot of trust in Jair Brown and Malik Mustafa. And because of that, I'm not worried about the defense. We also got Robert Saleh back calling the defensive plays. And I love Robert Saleh. We just gave him Bryce Huff. And I think Bryce Huff pairing him up with Robert Saleh and putting him in our defensive scheme, it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful master class, top tier, top 10, if not top 5 defense in the league this year. And you can put money down on that. So I'm not worried about the defense. What I am worried about is the offensive line. Not the offense. We got CMC back. I believe in Isaac Guerendo. We also just drafted a rookie. I forgot his name. I'll probably do a deep dive on the rookies at some point before the season starts. But in all honesty, we have Isaac Guerendo. We have CMC who, please, we get a 60-40, 50-50 workload, 55-45 workload between CMC and Guerendo, because I think Guerendo has the same traits CMC has. He can run, he can catch, and we saw him hints of his similarities to CMC last year during the season when he caught, I think it was like a 60-yard touchdown pass by Brock. And it was great. Offensively, we also got wide receivers. I know we lost Debo. It sucks. I love Debo, leader in the locker room. But we have Brandon Ayuk, who's going to come back at some point this season. Whether it be week 1 or week 5, I don't think it'll be past week 5, but we're going to get Brandon Ayuk back. Then we have Juwan Jennings on the roster, who had at moments shown that he could be that guy. And right now, it looks like he's going to either be the number 1 or number 2 option. Then we have Sticky Ricky motherfucking Pearsall, who got shot last year, who we drafted in the first round, who this year has the opportunity to showcase what he's about, especially now that Debo's gone. And usually it takes our receivers year 2, year 3 for them to really develop. We also have Jacob Cowling, who we drafted last year, who I think has the potential to be one of the best receivers in the 49ers, similar to how Juwan Jennings got drafted and developed. I think the same thing can be said for Jacob Cowling, who has played a lot of football and was a top 10 wide receiver in college in basically all stats. And I challenge you to go check it out. I know he's not the tallest player, but he's a slot guy, and we need a slot guy. I think Trent Taylor's back too, if I'm not mistaken. So we have offensive weapons. I'm not worried about the quarterback either. We signed Brock to a long-term deal. We still have George Kittle. Maybe it's time to start looking into an heir apparent to George because he is getting older, but I still have faith in George Kittle as long as we limit the amount of touches he gets and we see how to use him similar to how the Chiefs use Travis Kelce. We need to find a successor to him. What we always need to worry about though is our offensive line. Scully left for the Kansas City Chiefs. We have he was the backup to Trent Williams. Trent Williams, he's coming off basically a devastating season last year where he got injured, where he lost a child. It was the season from hell last year for Trent, and it was a tough season, and he's coming back from that. Where will he be mentally? Where will he be physically? I hope he's ready and prepared when the season comes. And he's still Trent Williams. He's still probably the best or a top 5 offensive lineman in the league. We also signed this offseason DJ Humphries, who was a former number 1 overall pick for the Arizona Cardinals, former captain over there, about the same age as Trent Williams. Now, I don't know if he'll make the roster, but that experience, that pedigree, being one of the best at his position for the amount of time that he was. I'm not saying we need him to be that same guy, but if we can get at least 70 to 80% of that production from him with us, if Trent isn't available, that is going to be fucking phenomenal. I still think we should move Dominic Pooney to right tackle because I don't think we have a solid right tackle in McKivitz. I really don't like fucking McKivitz. I don't know if he's still on the roster. We might have just fucking let him go. But our offensive line, it's still something that we're trying to figure out, right? I think Dominic Pooney has been a tremendous addition, Hall of Fame. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up at left tackle eventually when Trent retires because we will need somebody to protect Brock. And Dominic Pooney in college was a tackle, and I think he has a skill set that we need for him to be successful there. So as long as our offensive line is what I'm worried about, right? Our offensive line, as long as we can maintain Brock standing up, as long as we can keep Brock healthy, and then as long as we can also open up the run lanes for CMC, protect them as much as we can, we should be fine. We should be fine. And I think if our offensive line isn't good, then we're not going to be good. And every great quarterback in the league, I don't care. They have a solid offensive line that gives them time to pass, that allows them to see the pocket clearly, and protects their quarterback. Gives them about 3.5 seconds to run. Now, I get it. Sometimes you have to have a fast release, but we got to make sure we can keep our quarterback. We got to make sure we can keep Brock standing up tall, standing up healthy, and mitigate as much of the damage and as much of the force that CMC is going to be taking this year as the bell cow back for the 49ers, right? And then the second thing is we got rid of Mitch Wishnowsky, who was not the fucking problem. But we kept Jake Moody. Special teams is also going to be like a thing for us, right? Like special teams for us, for some reason, we have not been able to fucking get that right under Kyle Shanahan. And the one player who we should have gotten rid of this offseason, Jake Moody, we keep. Now, will he finally be able to be the kicker that like they've predicted him to be this entire fucking time? I don't know. I really don't think so. Like last year, I got so excited when he finally hit a walk-off field goal. And then there was another couple of opportunities. And then he did like that walk-off essentially, but like either to put us like near, to put us close to like a score or to tie it up. And he missed it. And it's just, why are we keeping him around? Like I said, Brady had Gostowski, had Vinatieri, had I think Suck Up, if I'm not mistaken, with the Buccaneers. Peyton had Vinatieri. Flacco even had Justin Tucker, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, and Harrison Buckner on the Chiefs. Like, you need a kicker. It should go quarterback, left tackle, defensive rusher, and then fucking kicker fourth. Because if you don't have a kicker when it's clutch time and you need your kicker, like you need your quarterback to get you 50 yards and put you in the field goal range so you get hit a walk-off, and you don't have that guy that can come in the clutch and hit you that walk-off, you ain't got shit. And we ain't got shit with Jake fucking Moody. And I've said that for the last 2 years. And I am worried. I am beyond worried that we've lost all these key players, and the one player that we should not have on our roster anymore, and Jake fucking Moody, is still there. Maybe he can turn it around. It's unlikely. But when is it gonna come? Hopefully we look at some kickers during the preseason, give them a shot. I thought the guy that we got, Matthew Wright, the guy that replaced Moody last year, should have been our kicker, because when he got the opportunity, he didn't miss, and he looked fucking better than Moody did in his entire goddamn career in the 3 kicks that he fucking kicked for us, right? Then he got hurt. But that's where I'm at. Our offensive line, keeping Brock Purdy upright, and our special teams, specifically Jake Moody, are going to be the 2 determining factors that determine how well our season goes. I think the ceiling for us is undoubtedly a Super Bowl. If we can remain healthy, and Brock I trust, I think our ceiling is a Super Bowl, and I think our minimum or our floor is the NFC Championship game, because that is the tradition for the San Francisco 49ers. Usually after they make the Super Bowl, and if they win or lose or whatever, they miss the playoffs the next year, and then they come back the following year and make the NFC Championship game. And that's what I think is going to happen this upcoming season with my San Francisco 49ers, because I think the defense is going to be solid. We have the offensive weapons. There hasn't been a lot of drama. And if our offensive line can find that chemistry that it needs, so we can open up the run lanes and we can protect Brock, we're going to be fine there. And if our fucking kicker can hit game-winning field goals when it matters, we should be fine. It'd be fine. Now, with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived to the end of this episode. Guys, thank you for watching the latest episode of Unwin from the End Zone. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, leave me a comment so I know if you agree or disagree with my takes. Always remember, desire is power. If you desire to be great, you have the power to be great. Thank you for watching the latest episode of Unwin from the End Zone. See you next time.